So next month is IslExpo, which is once again happening at the Villa Marina. It's in its third year, and it really gives people a unique insight into the how-tos of starting and growing a strong business. The theme this year is Locate, and it's going to highlight the importance of location when it comes to business startup. And naturally, the Isle of Man is a perfect place for many reasons, and that will be explored during the one-day conference on May the 16th. And our guest today, Kim Graziano, realises that more than most, I suppose, that the island is a perfect place because you moved over here a few years ago, not for business though, it's for love, wasn't it?
Sort of, yeah. I met a guy, moved to London to be with said guy, and then said guy got a job here, and I was like, well, I already moved to London, so like no big deal. Let's move to the Isle of Man, whatever that is. And then we did, and it's been 2 years now, but actually it's probably the best choice I ever made.
And did you know before you moved over here that you were going to start your business? I mean, obviously, clearly you had a passion for what you do now.
Well, I mean, I sort of, I worked as a graphic designer in New York, where I'm from. And when I moved over to London, I was sort of freelancing a little bit, moved over to the island and thought, okay, I guess I'll, get a job as a graphic designer. And I was not able to find a job as a graphic designer. So I sort of had to take matters into my own hands and do it myself.
And how easy have you found the process then of starting up over here? Because we talked about the fact that you made your announcement at IslExpo last year.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I do a lot of different things. So over the last year since I officially started my business, I've sort of been feeling my way through it. So I do, freelance graphic design for a marketing agency. I illustrate your dog if you want a custom portrait. And I've started doing these sort of experiences. So at IslExpo last year, I launched the drawing club and I lead these community life drawing sessions. And so all of these different creative things sort of make up my business. And, in a year, I might have a different answer for you about what I'm focusing on, but I'm really enjoying the mix of it all. It keeps things really fun and interesting. But doing it here has actually worked out well. In a lot of different ways. I think there's not a ton of competition for the unique hybrid of stuff that I'm doing. But also there's so much support in local government that really wants you to succeed. It's amazing.
And it's interesting you say that because, again, I mentioned this the other week, but in the coming weeks, we are going to play out an interview we did recently with entrepreneur Levi Roots, the guy that set up the reggae sauce. And he was talking about what it's like in the UK and saying that actually in the UK, there's practically no support from the government when it comes to new business startup and young entrepreneurs and things. And they're really trying to change that. So give us an idea of what the actual support was that you had from government over here.
Yeah, so I will say on that notice, and in my experience in New York, you were on your own, and also good luck paying for health insurance. It's not an easy place to become a freelancer. But here, I basically started my business, I registered the name, and then sort of reached out to people I could potentially collaborate with. And eventually someone pointed me towards doing the micro business grant scheme with the Department of Enterprise. So I applied for that and then did that course over the summer. And that has been amazing because I learned all this stuff that I didn't know as an American. Like, what's VAT? I don't know. So just learned things that I didn't know otherwise. But I don't know what they officially call it, but basically a stipend that you get monthly, just a little bit of money just to get you along. That has been the best thing for your psyche as a small business owner, that there's always a little bit of money coming in, and it just gets rid of that scarcity mentality and being like, oh God, how am I going to pay my bills? Just that little bit of help really gets you in the right mindset to, make choices that'll benefit your business long term instead of just worrying about how you're going to feed your dog, So I thought it was a big help.
And the great thing is with something like IslExpo, and really echoing what you said as well, that almost that people want you to succeed, which is a lovely sentiment given what you've experienced elsewhere.
Yeah, I feel like there's a real thirst for small business here, and there's a big movement around doing things locally. People are happy to see you bring in something new, and they're happy to support you, and it helps just being friendly. But it's a great place to be.
And I think that's proven by, we were talking off air and you were saying how you feel like there's a real buzz here now, certainly from a creative point of view. But part of that is because it's like a circle, isn't it? You've had that support, and as a result now you've been able to create this hugely popular drawing club which affects people from all ages, and it's sort of filled in this spot. I think there's a real hunger for something like that, and now that you've created it, in a way you're also, as we've said before on the show, creating a better island to live in a way. So it comes full circle, really, doesn't it?
I think so. I think creating something that I wanted to exist and then seeing that all these people flock to it. Like, I just put up tickets last night for our next drawing club event and they sold out in 4 hours. Like, what is that? Like, when I first moved here, I was Googling furiously for drawing classes, and no one was doing them. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll do them. But I assume that, like, no one's going to come because it doesn't exist. But everyone wanted it. You just have to make stuff, There's room here to make stuff.
What do you think people get out of the drawing club? Why do you think they are so popular?
Well, it's a few different things. I think a lot of people like to draw and don't make time for it. So having a dedicated thing in your calendar where you're like, okay, Thursday night, I'm drawing. It's like, that's great. It's good for you. It's like really fun. But also the social aspect of it. Like, I make sure to say that this is not a pretentious atmosphere. This is about hanging out with people and having a drink and maybe a piece of carrot cake when we're at NOAA. And just like meeting nice people and drawing, and then having like nice breaks in between drawing poses where you just get to chat to people around you. It's like a very welcoming atmosphere. And you're there to have a drink and draw, which is like the best thing in the entire world.
And I love what you say is that you don't have to be brilliant in inverted commas. If you're just having a go, that's good enough.
Yeah, 100%. No one's there to judge you. Everyone is like a little bit nervous and looking at their own paper. And at the end of it, we all put out our favorite drawings and everyone is so nice to each other. It's just about the act of trying.
I just want to read something out to her, and don't worry, I have warned her that I'm going to read this out. I spotted this on her Facebook page before. This is a lovely post from Hannah Log, who's just been taking some photos of Kim, and she says, Kim is our island's own creative whirlwind. I can't believe how much she's achieved since moving here. The drawing club, the Caird Collective, fashion illustration workshops, the list goes on, all alongside running her own business too. I feel that she's a great asset to the Manx creative scene, provided the island with lots of unique and exciting social events, and in my opinion has caught the attention of a younger generation, making being creative a cool thing to do or be involved in. And I also love how she promotes and supports other small businesses here on the little island too, which is brilliant. And there's so much in that, sort of partly I think that idea as well of making the sort of being creative a cool thing to do, and that's been proven, I think, with both of you here, whether it's music, whether it's drawing. Now you've got as well, you've got like the Isle Gallery doing their workshops, the watercolour and everything. It is now a bit cooler to be creative, isn't it?
I never thought it was uncool, but that's just me.
So Kim, how are you involved in IslExpo this year?
So I'm going to be speaking on one of their panels, which is about overcoming challenges as a small business owner, particularly with a focus on the funding options available, which I could talk about for years. So I'm really happy to be involved.